Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, with a review of Sinister, released in 2012 and directed by Scott Derrickson. Now, I always get Sinister confused with Insidious and The Conjuring. I don't know, all these 2010 supernatural horror films blend together for me, so bear with me as I try to at least distinguish Sinister from its other contemporaries. Sinister tells the story of Ellison Oswalt, which is like the fakest name I've ever heard. Played by Ethan Hawke looking like fucking Gordon Freeman, and I'm assuming this is a spin-off film of the Before trilogy.
I liked it better when you were writing fiction.
Nobody likes my fiction.
Anyway, Ellison moves his family into a haunted house, but in his defense, he didn't know it was haunted when he moved in. He just knew that a family was murdered in the house's backyard. Fucking white people, right?
I find this to be in extremely bad taste.
Ellison is a true crime author acclaimed for his first book a decade ago, Kentucky Blood, which sounds like a delicious brand of whiskey.
Well, you know what? I do have a couple extra copies of Kentucky Blood in my office. If you want me to get one out and sign it for you, I'll do that.
But Ellison hasn't had a hit since, and his writing in the intervening years has had questionable ethics behind it.
Your bad theory helped a killer go free. You ruin people's lives.
The man has let his writing take over his life and is chasing fame, leaving his family behind in the dust. In other words, he's one of those vultures that wants to capitalize on human misery. Kinda like me. And Ellison's last hope is cracking the case of who murdered the family in his new home and what happened to the single survivor of those murders, a missing little girl. Otherwise, Ellison will have to return to his old job teaching and move back to his old house, a mansion. Yes, Ellison owned a mansion and he's worried about being famous. Champagne problems, am I right?
You know, we could live wherever
I don't
we
care
wanted
about
to.
any
Yes,
of
you
that.
do. Everybody
No,
does
I'm
it too,
just-
but this is my shot, Tracy.
It's all very reminiscent of The Shining. I don't think it's any coincidence that the haunted house is located in King County. Anyway, Ellison stumbles on the breakthrough he needs to finish his new book when he discovers a box containing old Super 8 movies that are quickly revealed to be snuff films, depicting not only the murders of the home's previous occupants, but also other families killed in similar fashions, passive and restrained. Ellison takes it upon himself to carefully investigate these snuff films and try to find the connection between these murders, but he starts to notice a dark figure within the footage as strange things start to happen in his new home. Sinister is kind of two horror films simultaneously at war with each other. One is a good supernatural haunted house movie with subtle, tasteful scares mixed with really creepy found footage, and the other film is a much more mediocre cliche fest with cheap jump scares and goofy-looking ghost children. The film is at its best in the first half, when it's just Ethan Hawke playing a flawed but likable guy alone in his spooky house at night, quietly watching fucked up shit while eerie things start to happen in his own home. It's very relatable. We've all been up late watching scary stuff and become paranoid that the things we're watching will happen to us. So it plays with a fear we all have. That works, and I ultimately prefer a more low-key approach to supernatural horror.
You are under so much stress, you put yourself under so much stress that your mind is trying to process all of it at once.
Where it can be ambiguous whether something supernatural is happening or there's something darker and far more real at hand.
So this might be more of a cult initiation rather than, the actual actions of any one man.
Like, sure, ghosts or demons are scary, but the idea of a human serial killer or killers murdering people ritualistically over several decades is also fucking terrifying. And it's peak scariness to me when you don't know which thing it is, the supernatural or real-life horror.
Do you think these are serial murders?
Maybe. More ritualized than necessarily serial.
The film starts out with a great, eerie atmosphere with Ethan Hawke totally isolated in his own home with only films of murder to keep him company, never seeming to leave the house and his only interactions with his family being over how he's turned their lives upside down.
We can pack up, get out of town, and never look back.
Yeah, why? Because he's having some
No,
night
no,
terrors?
it's more than that.
And you also get some nice comic relief with the Deputy So-and-so character who's a starstruck fan of Ellison's.
You have a notepad?
Yes.
Do you need a pen?
Yes.
Aiding the writer's research.
Yeah, I gotta wait till the sheriff leaves the office, but I will get it.
Thank you very much, Deputy So-and-so.
All of these ingredients really work, but then halfway through the film, the real horror is revealed. A pagan entity called Bughuul who manipulates and devours children, which sounds a lot like Jeffrey Epstein.
Bughuul, the eater of children.
Did you say eater?
Yes, of children.
And Bagel over here just looks like a Slipknot reject. The villain looks terrible. He doesn't look like some ancient demon. He looks like a mall goth on Halloween. It's stupid, and the film falls apart from here, descending into all the cliches in the modern horror movie playbook, with spooky ghost kids running around in the background, jump scares galore, and a meeting with some Bughuul expert over Skype, played by Vincent D'Onofrio.
So you're saying the person that made this symbol is eating children?
Well, that would fit the stories.
The second half of the movie sucks, and really undoes all the film's tastefully handled setup. It feels like there was a conflict of interest here. One of the guys in charge of the script wanted to make a supernatural horror film that comments on true crime writing, while the other writer wanted to try to tack on a failed attempt to make a new horror icon to rival Freddy Krueger. But Bughuul just looks like if the crow melted. I like some schlock, but the schlock in this movie doesn't feel like it should be there and was just a total afterthought. Overall, though, despite the mostly bullshit second half of the movie, and especially the goofy ending, Sinister is worth a watch just for the eerie atmosphere it maintains and the genuinely creepy and authentic-looking Super 8 snuff film footage on display. I give Sinister a Bughuul FaceTime out of a Vincent D'Onofrio FaceTime.
Appreciate that.
Of course, I'm a really big fan. I'm flattered that you emailed
thank you.
me.
If you liked this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more vids. I'd also like to thank these fine folks pledged my shout-out tier on Patreon for all their kind support. Videos like this wouldn't be possible without all their help. Thank you for watching, see you next time. Dr. Wolfula signing out.